Hello, my name is Kayla Robinson, and this semester I observed for 51 hours at Jefferson Middle School, and actually completed my last day of observations today. So I was placed at Jefferson Middle School because I had requested to be student teaching in a high school, so that meant I had to observe at a middle school. And for me, I requested to be student teaching in a high school because I thought that that's where I wanted to be teaching in the future. And I don't know why. I think I just wanted to be teaching in a high school because I thought it would be less stressful. But then the more I'm around high schoolers versus middle schoolers, the more I realize that that's not very true. Middle schoolers are super excited about everything, and it's really reassuring, especially in somebody who is not very confident in their content knowledge. It makes me a little bit more comfortable. So basically, I kind of wish that my experience was the exact opposite. I wish that I would have observed in high school and would have student taught in a middle school. Because, not saying I wouldn't enjoy high school, but I feel like my personality would enjoy middle school better. And before this, I would have never said that. Like, the idea of teaching in a middle school really upset me because I didn't want to do it. I thought middle schoolers were all bratty, and don't get me wrong, some of them are, but they're also really funny, and they're so little and cute, and I really liked it. So as for what I learned, my teacher is Miss Brown. She's a younger teacher, but she has had a lot of experience. She has a really good relationship with her students. So as far as classroom management goes, and her relationships with her students, she really doesn't have to do that much because she has such a good foundation with her students. So she is in a 9-week continual program. So every 9 weeks she gets a new group of students. And I don't know how I would feel about that. That was another thing that I liked about high school, was that you had them for the whole year and you had them for 4 years. Now, middle school, I don't know how I feel about the whole 9-week thing. And I know they're not all like that, but I've heard of the 9-week rotations, and then I've heard of just the semester-long rotations, and then once they get into 8th grade, it's the year-long. And I mean, I guess it's kind of nice to be able to start over every 9 weeks because you do get time to reevaluate what you're doing. So if in the first 9 weeks you do a lesson and it didn't go as well as you thought it was going to go, the next 9 weeks you can alter it however you want to without having to wait until the next year. And that aspect of it is nice, but I do like having, your students for longer and being able to connect with them for a longer period of time. I guess it's also beneficial because if you have students you don't like, they're out of your class in 9 weeks. But I don't know. There's pros and cons to both. But at the beginning of her 9 weeks, she establishes all her rules from the get-go. So, and she's fairly easygoing. It's not like she runs a strict classroom, and that's why she doesn't have any problems with it. She's very easygoing. She's very fun and engaging with her kids, so it's not like they're scared of her by any means. But she sets it out clearly. If she's talking, they're not supposed to be talking. Basically what she told me is that, she's not going to be up at the front lecturing to them that much because she wants them to be a little bit more engaged, because she focuses on a lot of group work and work on the Chromebooks and things like that. She's not going to be lecturing that much, so at the times where she is talking to them, their voices should not be heard. And they do pretty well. I mean, they're middle schoolers. They get hyped up every now and then, but they do pretty well in like calming down. She has a couple of problematic students. So she has one student who obviously has some behavioral issues. He kind of shuts down at almost everything. So he's in that stage where he's too cool for school, but at the same time, it's like he wants to impress everyone. He wants to impress her. So he kind of like has to show out. And that's really the worst one that I saw were his behavioral issues. And that's really the only time where I saw her do stricter management techniques. So with him, she takes him out of the classroom usually, like, fairly often, like 2 to 3 times a week, because he's that disruptive. And she'll just take him out of the classroom, talk to him, and when he comes back in, he shuts down a little bit, which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, she does what she has to do in order to make sure that her entire classroom can run smoothly. He still will get his work done, and she still monitors him. It's not like she talks to him, shuts him down, and then doesn't check on him and make sure he's doing anything. But I don't know. It was interesting to see how she handled like a problematic student. But for the most part, all of her kids really respect her. Like, she has really good communication with them. One thing that I liked that I saw, which was so weird to me because I just didn't think middle schoolers were like this. I was at a FFA meeting for them, and she had one student that, I can't remember what it was, I think he knocked something over and kept walking away or something like that. And she was just like, very calmly, oh, okay, well, you did this is what you need to apologize for, and let's not do it again. So, and he was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, no, you say, I'm sorry, Miss Brown, for blank, blank, blank. It won't happen again. And then he immediately just repeated it back to her. And it was just a very calm way to, one, address that she has the authority, and two, create that like mutual respect. And I really like the way that she handles her classroom management, because she never goes overboard. She's not like, oh, I need to prove that I'm in power, but she's also not, I don't really care what y'all do as long as I don't have to deal with it. She kind of has a very like happy medium. So I really liked that, because I didn't really know like a lot of management techniques. She does well with routine. So her students, it's the same thing every day. They come in, they get their Chromebooks out, they do the openers. Before this, I would have said I wouldn't really like certain routines like that, because I didn't like when teachers did that to me. When you do the same thing over and over, it's not like her activities are the same, but like the opening being the same all the time. But with her students, it works. So I'm guessing, I don't know if it's like a middle school thing, but to me, what I see it as is that like her students need that routine in order to, you know, mind their behavior. They need to come in, know exactly what they're doing, not come in and not have any idea and have to wait for her to sit down and address them, you know, etc., etc. So I like that, and that was something new that I learned. She also is really adaptable. So I'm someone that plans out my lesson plans to a T, and I'm kind of a perfectionist about them, and so I plan like a lot. And if something doesn't go that way, it's not like I shut down or anything like that, but it does stress me out. But she kind of worked with me on that too. Like, I talked to her about it for a long time. She just is very, very go with the flow. And she was talking to me and saying, yeah, you really just can't get caught up in your head too much about the way that you want things to go, because all of your students are different and they're never going to go how you want them to go. And that was a big takeaway for me. So I think that was one of the most important things that I learned. But yeah, overall, I had a really, really good time. Like I said, I kind of wish it was opposite. I wish I was spending more time with them, and I wish I was able to get more involved. I think if I am going into a classroom, I definitely would heavily consider going into a middle school classroom over high school now. Because I don't know, I had a lot of fun. It really surprised me, and I really like the way that the programs are run. But yeah, that's about it.